So we've got this question here, what is your favorite breakfast food? And we gave responses here. If we had responded in a different way, if anybody responded in a different way, then obviously the numbers in this chart would be different. So these are the results from what we asked here. So what kind of information do I need if I ultimately want to know the percentages of people that responded with pancakes, eggs, and bacon? What am I going to do first? Yeah, we need to know how many people total answered this question. And we can do that just by adding up all of these numbers here. So we do 10 plus 5 plus 6 and get 21. All right, after we do that, we move over to the next column. And what are we going to do for those fractions? How do I write the fraction for the number of people that said they like pancakes the best? Okay, so we write the number of people that said they like pancakes the best over the total number of people. All right, so 10 out of 21 people said that they like pancakes the best. Can I reduce that fraction? Nope, there's nothing that goes into 10 that also goes into 21, so that's it. How about eggs?
5 over 21.
5 over 21, okay. Can I reduce that fraction?
No.
Nope, nothing that goes into 5 that also goes into 21. Okay, so moving on. How about bacon?
6 over 21.
6 over 21, can I reduce that fraction?
No.
Yes. What goes into 6 that also goes into 21? 3. So we'll reduce by 3 here. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. All right, now, since I have some work in here, I want to make sure that it's clear what my answer is, so make sure that you identify that as your answer by either boxing or circling it. Once I have those fractions, now I want to get the percents. And keep in mind, anytime we're using the calculator to do something, we need to show the work, show what we're typing into the calculator. So what do I type into the calculator to go from this fraction to a percent? Okay, good. So 10 over 21 is the same thing as 10 divided by 21. That changes it to a decimal. And then we're going to multiply that by 100%. All right, and that's going to change this fraction into a percent. If you forget how to do that while you're taking the test next week, you get to use your notes. Now, keep in mind, this wouldn't be in the notes that we took over the survey stuff. It would actually be in the notes that we took at the very beginning of the triad with converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. We have a fraction, we're converting to a percent, so you have those notes to help you with that. We punch this into the calculator, and then as we write our answer, let's keep in mind we want to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So I'm going to write it to the hundredths place, and then we'll talk about what we do to get to the tenths place. So to the hundredths place, what do we get when we do 10 divided by 21? I want 2 decimal places because we're going to end up rounding to 1. What do we get? 10 divided by 21 times 100. 47 point what? 019? Okay, so I'm just going to go 01. Why don't I need anything else after that? What place am I rounding to? Which number in this decimal am I rounding to? All right, this should be a 6 here. So 47.61. And why don't I need that next digit? The next one would be a 9, but why don't I need that 9? We're rounding to the nearest tenth, right? So we're rounding to the tenths place, which is that 6 there, and the only thing I need to round to the tenths place is the hundredths place. So we look at what's in the hundredths place here, this 1, and that's going to tell me that the 6 does what? It stays the same. So we can just leave that off now. So we get 47.6%. Make sure when you're doing these types of problems, you look in the directions to see how many decimal places we want to round it to. All right, in this case, we want to round to the tenths place. Next one, we're doing the same thing except with a different fraction. So this time it's going to be 5 divided by 21 times 100%. And that gives us what? $809. Okay, so 80 is all I'm going to put here. Again, we're rounding to the tenths place. So I only really need the hundredths place to decide what to do with the tenths place. So looking at this 0 that I'm going to get rid of, what do I do with the 8? Stays the same. All right, so I'll just get rid of that 0, put my percent on there. And actually I'm forgetting something in my answer here. What should I do? Yeah, let's identify that as the answer. I like to circle it just because a box kind of blends in with the lines in the chart, but a box or a circle will be good here. Make sure you do one or the other, though, when you're showing work. The last one, we have 2 divided by 7 times 100%, or you could do 6 divided by 21 times 100%, right? Either one would be okay. So 2 divided by 7 times 100% gives us
28.57.
okay, and again, we don't need any more than that. What's going to happen when we get rid of this 7 here? Rounding the 5, we get rid of the 7, what's going to happen to the 5? It's going to go up to a 6. So I'm going to back it up here and make this a 6. Don't forget your percent, and circle your answer. Okay, now I have all those percentages. I want to check my answer, make sure that this makes sense, make sure that my percentages were appropriate. So what can I do to check this and complete the chart at the same time? Add all of these up, right? So 47.6 plus 23.8 plus 28.6, and all of those add up to 100%. Okay, in this case, because of the way things rounded, it ends up being exactly 100%. There will be times where it could be like 100.1% or 99.9%, but it should be really close to 100% if it's not exactly 100%. In the past, we conducted a survey and asked 57 people, what is your favorite pet? And I'm sorry, what is your favorite type of pet, I should say. And we gave them 3 choices, dog, cat, or fish. Just like other surveys, you could answer other things like hamster or, I don't know, what else would you have as a pet? A tiger, a snake, those sorts of things. But these were the only choices, so they had to choose dog, cat, or pet, or fish. And what we want to do is we want to take the percentages that we got from that survey and figure out how many people responded with each one. All right, so let's do that first, and then we're also going to have to fill in the box down here, but we'll get to that in a minute. How do I figure out how many people out of these 57 said that they like dogs the best? So what we're trying to do here is figure out what is 38.6% of 57. So that literally means 38.6% is out of 100, so divided by 100. Of 57 means times 57. And that's going to give us a decimal, right? So what do we get when we do that? 38.6 divided by 100 times 57. What does that give us? 22.002. Okay, does it make sense to say that 22.002 people said that dogs are the best? No, not really, right? So if we have something like this, the answer that we give should be what? It should be a whole number. So we're going to round to the nearest whole number, which would be that ones place. We get rid of everything after the decimal, which means that it's going to be 22 or 23? 22. So 22 people in this survey said that they like dogs the best. Okay, how about cats? We're going to do something similar, right?
Divided by 57.
So we have 40.4%, which means 40.4 divided by 100. And then of 57 means what? Times 57. So 40.4% of 57, we would write like this using math operations. And we type that into the calculator and get what? All right, we get 23.028. All right, and just like when we were talking about people who like dogs the best, people who like cats the best are also whole people. So we can only talk about whole numbers, so we round to the ones place, get rid of everything after, and the first number we get rid of is a 0, which means we should do what? It stays the same. So it's going to be 23 people in this survey that responded with cat as their favorite type of pet. All right, last one, fish. Okay, so we get 21.1 divided by 100, because that's what percent means, times 57, or of 57, and that gives us what? 12.027. Okay. And again, we round to the nearest whole number, so that's going to give us what, Olivia? Just 12. So 12 people said that fish are their favorite pets. The last thing we want to do here is add up the percentages. Actually, before we do that, let's do this. Let's check to make sure these numbers make sense for the survey. So we had 22 people who said dog, 23 people said cat, 12 people said fish. And so how can we check to make sure that those numbers make sense here? Add them together. What is 22 plus 23 plus 12? 57, right? So it works out okay? All right, so that's a good check just to make sure that our numbers make sense. And since all 57 responses are represented here, then that means that these percentages should add up to what? 100%. Or, like we said, close to 100%, right? And I think you guys are going to notice on this one what happens. What do we get? 100.1%. All right, why did we get that 0.1? Where did that come from? Did we have an extra response in there? No, because 0.1% would be one person out of 1,000, and we didn't ask even close to 1,000 people. So it's not like there's an extra response in there. So where did that 0.1 come from? This 0.1 here came from rounding when we got the percentages. So after we did the survey, we figured out the percentages, but when we did, we had to round those percentages. And because of the way they rounded, they actually rounded so that we got a number that was just a little bit over 100%. All right, and if you look at what happened when we rounded these numbers, the 22 point something, the 23 point something, the 12 point something, those numbers all rounded down a little bit, which means they were just a little bit too big to start with. And that's why when we added up the percentages, it was just a little bit too big. Okay? What's going to happen a lot of times is some of them round up and some of them round down, and they cancel each other out, and then we get a sum of 100%.